So Francois, 1995 Rugby World Cup, and here we have a photograph in the Opus of Nelson Mandela arriving, I believe, at training, and there you are behind, looking very young. Talk us through that day and how special it was for Mr. Mandela to come and see you.
Well, thank you very much for reminding me that I look young in the pictures. We've all aged, but with great memories, and this is one of the most incredible memories. This is just before we played Australia in the opening match at Silver Mines. We had our captain's run on the day, and we heard that Mr. Mandela was going to meet us. I dressed up for the occasion, as you can see, because it was very important to greet him properly dressed. The boys had just finished training, and what was very special about that is when he met the team. He's met one or two of them before when we played against England, but some of the players he's never met, but he knew their names. It was fascinating, you know, when I was going to introduce him to the one or the other, he said, I said, Quibus, that's Henny. And he stood with Henny for quite a while. Henny gave him a cap, and that cap he wore on the day of the final. But more importantly, we only learned later that he wore that cap the next week at an ANC rally in KwaZulu-Natal. And when he took out the cap, there were murmurs in the crowd, and he actually stood up and said, these are our boys. They're playing for us. So this was very, very special. And that's just the tonic we needed for our game against Australia, who were then the favourites to win. And with the Madiba magic, we managed to squeeze a win.
Well, you mentioned the Australia game, and here's some action shots, and you're right, Australia were favourites to win. And I guess that the belief that you got began partly from the visit from the president, but secondly by beating Australia.
Yeah, we knew we were up against a glassy outfit. Fortunately, we did well against them in the Super Rugby the year before, and 93, and we beat them in 93, and 94 we did well. We knew we had to be on top of our game. Probably played our best match. We started nervously, the crowd was incredible. The players were so tense in the changing room. And then it just clicked. Phenomenal team performance, but the outstanding thing is Peter Hendricks, where people they did not know the 95 team. Hence the fact that we were not tagged as one of the favourites, because we just came out of isolation. A guy like Peter Hendricks, who scored that try against Campese the year before the World Cup, scored 39 tries in that year of rugby, which is phenomenal. So you knew how to score. And our coach said, you just give Peter with the ball with space and he'll do something special, and he did.
And there we go, there's the scenes afterwards of a very, very significant win.
Joel's scoring a great try.
Yeah.
But you will see after the game there was not tremendous celebrations. Although we've beaten the favourites, we knew there was a big job ahead of us. This was just the start.
Long way to go, huh?
Yeah.
And here we have a picture of Chester against Samoa, and I wanted you to mention Chester, A, because of what he did against Samoa, but B, because of what Chester symbolised in that World Cup.
Yeah, Chester was, all the marketing campaigns was faced around Chester, welcoming everybody to South Africa, and then he got injured just before the World Cup. He pulled his hamstring, so his dream was shattered. We had the Canadian bust-up, where Peter Hendricks and James Dalton was then suspended, and Peter had an opportunity to come back into the team. And on that Thursday or Friday, I asked him just to share with the team what's happening in the country. Because bearing in mind, as a team, you see the inside of the hotel, you go to the training pitches, and you go to the games. You sort of, you're quarantined against most of the things in South Africa, and Chester told us that it's electrifying. And he stepped up to the plate and scored 4 tries against Samoa in the quarterfinal. Phenomenal performance.
And an absolute hero, national hero.
Oh yeah, super nice guy.
So there we go. Now this was the semi-final. Of course, it was the heavens opened, didn't they?
This picture is incredible. The heavens opened the whole day. We thought that the game might not take place, and one of the fascinating things was in the changing room. Derek Bevan, the referee, came to us. He came to me and he said, "Francois, we're going to postpone the game by another half an hour. Try and clear it up and dry it. You can see there. And if we can't dry it up, then we won't play, and you guys will be out of the World Cup." Because the laws of the competition then stated that that game would not be postponed; it would be cancelled, and the team with the worst disciplinary record will go out, because we had this thing against Canada. But phenomenal pictures, and Joubert was just incredible.
And this was against the French. This was the semi-final.
Yeah.
It was so tight. I mean, in hindsight, you're almost out of the World Cup because it almost didn't play.
Yeah.
You're almost out of the World Cup because the French gave you one hell of a game, and you just got over the line, didn't you?
We did. You know, we started well, and racked up some points, and all of a sudden started freezing, making silly mistakes. And then they kicked the high ball. Abdul Benazir grabbed it, and I thought he scored. You know, he went for the line, our bodies piled in, and I pulled my head out and looked at the clock, and there was still enough time to win the game. And as the bodies untangled, his arm was between the try line and the ball, so we were that far. And normally World Cups, they're about margins. The French, you know, they can tear any team apart. We saw, actually, they were quite lucky to get into the semi-finals. In the quarterfinals, they scored a try in the 4th minute of injury time, Emilian Tamak. But when these guys get into the knockout stages, they can play.
So, got to the final, a day you'll never remember, and that alone is an iconic photograph.
Always remember.
Tell me about this.
I didn't see this. So we were in the changing room. My fiance then, my wife now, she said to me it was incredible. She was actually sitting this side, and she saw there was this Boeing coming out, on the horizon, coming towards the stadium, and it came closer and closer, and lower. And it flew over the stadium. We just heard this tremendous roar in the changing room. And she said when she looked up, on the bottom of the Boeing, they wrote, "Good luck, Pocker." You can only imagine how electrified that atmosphere must have been. I'm sort of happy we didn't see this, because what we needed to do is calm the guys down and, you know, not give them more excitement.
So you had no idea this was happening?
None.
You just heard the noise?
We saw this way after the final.
Okay.
When they told us about this. Really? And then pictures, and then obviously the video footage.
I mean, it was so low, it nearly landed.
Yeah, it was, like I said, I didn't see it, I heard it.
But for all the excitement, and by which stage the whole country was behind you, you had to focus, didn't you? You had a job to do.
That's what we do. You know, you've got to execute. Our game plan was set. We had a plan B, plan A, where we were facing the All Blacks, who unearthed during that tournament the first global superstar, John Aloma. And the whole talk was, how do we stop it? But we didn't focus a lot on him, fortunately, because we realized that there's other guys in that team, and if we don't stop them. But coming back again to underdog tags, in '93 we played them. In the Super 10 we beat them. In '94 we did the same in Super Rugby. And we came close in the last match in New Zealand. So we knew it'll be close. We knew it'll go down to the wire. And the haka is phenomenal. When we toured New Zealand '94, we asked Maori tribes to come and do the haka for us so that we get into the psyche. And this invitation to go into battle is fantastic. We decided we'll always face it. You'll face up to your opponent, you'll look him in the eye, and you'll accept his challenge. So I'm looking at Mike Brewer.
You're very close, aren't you? Very good. And they came in as the favourites, didn't they? They had demolished England, and you say Jonah Lomu had demolished England.
It became the Jonah Loma show.
Yeah.
You know, he scored. He just ran over the Northern Hemisphere opposition in just stupendous fashion. You know, he was just so powerful, so quick. Great team.
Great team. And yet, here we go. It was nip and tuck throughout the final until this moment.
That picture.
Yeah. Talk me through that.
Well, actually, I think I was a benign dictator as a captain, because I made all the calls, all the starter moves from a scrum and line out. And that specific moment, there was a small blind, and it's impossible almost to drop a goal from that position, because the scrum off will be on Joel. So I called a back row move, to set up the drop goal opportunity. The scrum wheeled, Bishop stayed on Joel called cancel, and he executed.
And there we go. So, the World Cup is won, and here is one of the most iconic moments in the history of rugby. Before we talk about presenting the trophy, talk about this man, and particularly what he did that day, the significance of what he wore, and what that did for you and your players.
It's not possible. You know, it was immense. To try and wrap it up in a sentence or two would just not do. This incredible human being, wonderful leader, superb example, the credit that he deserves. to come out of jail after 27 years in prison and have forgiveness in your heart and embracing a sport that was supported by the white Afrikaners in particular, and to call us his boys and to wear Springbok on his heart was just amazing. And this picture, the words was just hit me. When he gave me the cup, he said to me, "Francois, thank you for what you've done for South Africa." And I replied in exactly the same words. "Thank you, Mr. Mandela, for what you've done for South Africa." I wish I hugged him. I wish there was a picture of me hugging him, because it's a regret.
I remember you telling me before, another tiny regret, I don't think it should be a regret at all, but I know for you, was just before you put your hands on the trophy, you pulled your shorts up, didn't you?
Not before. Before I came up onto the podium, I stuck in my shirt. Because how I was brought up is you're always stuck in your shirt when you're meeting an important person. You never have your shirt hanging out. And I stuck in my shirt and tied it up. So when I got the cup, is that picture here?
No, but you pulled them so high, didn't you?
It was too high. Thank goodness it's not there.
And you still remember that. And so...
well, there it is. It's on the screen.
There we go. And the famous quote then, talk us through this. You were interviewed, weren't you, by a television reporter on the field, and he said to you...
Well, he said to me, "How did it feel like to win in front of 65,000 people?" And the reply was, "We won in front of 43 million people." Basic reason for that is we've just been unfair to credit it to the lucky few in the stadium. It was for everyone in South Africa. Everyone supported the Springboks. We were one team playing for one country.
And the thing about sport, Francois, is it's so much more than just a game, isn't it? And it played such a massive part, did it not, in the creation of the new South Africa. And you must be immensely proud to have not simply won a great sporting tournament. It goes beyond that, doesn't it?
It does, because it cuts across creed, religion, race. It's more than just a simple game. It's hope. Sport deals in hope.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.